Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. Today we're going to be talking all about N'Golo Kante and his future at Chelsea FC. But before we get into any of that, just want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the videos too. But let's get into the N'Golo Kante problem, as I'm calling it, because I think it is a problem and a debate that needs to be had and needs to be addressed, because it feels like it's been lingering for a while, and especially now considering his fitness problems, his role in the team, considering how effective he's been this season under Frank Lampard, and of course that goes back to Sarri last season. Is it the right time for Chelsea to cash in on N'Golo Kante, especially with Real Madrid being interested, that we heard of at the weekend? Is it time for Chelsea to cut ties with the world-class Frenchman? Now, not only to talk about the Real Madrid interest, but also to address this article from The Athletic and go into it, because it goes really in depth on N'Golo Kante and his role at Chelsea and future at Chelsea. Kante is 29 wasted in Chelsea's 4-3-3 and their best paid player. What's next? Asked at his unveiling as Chelsea's head coach last summer if he knew where he would deploy N'Golo Kante, Frank Lampard simply laughed and said he did. His conclusion, clear for all to see on the pitch this season, was strikingly similar to the one Maurizio Sarri reached in the 18-19 season, that the tireless Frenchman is best maximised shuttling up and down the right of a midfield three with instruction to dart into the opposition penalty area whenever the opportunity presents itself. Kante's 1920 campaign has been too disrupted by injury for his role to become a constant source of debate, but his effectiveness in Lampard's system will be one of the most important questions for Chelsea to consider when football resumes, both for the rest of this season and beyond. This is a great article, link in the description to read the full article, because it is a forensic look not only at N'Golo Kante but the numbers of not only Kante but Chelsea's midfield, and really looking at this season what Lampard has done in terms of his midfield and in the effectiveness, the numbers that come out of those midfields. Lampard has lined Chelsea up in a 4-3-3 formation in 15 out of 29 games in the Premier League this season. In the others, he's employed a two-man midfield in either a 4-2-3-1 or a 3-4-2-1. Kante has appeared in 18 league games for Chelsea this season. Now, as I said about numbers, as you can see here, how Kante's defensive output changes between a 2- and 3-man midfield. We know that in a 2-man midfield, in a double pivot, is where Kante has had his best seasons in his career recently, where he really came to the fore in world football. For Leicester, firstly, sitting alongside Danny Drinkwater in that title-winning season. For Chelsea, alongside Nemanja Matic under Conte in 16-17, and for France, winning a World Cup. And what this really shows is how his defensive output changes. You know, how it sort of gets really deteriorated once he goes into a 3-man midfield, likely with Kovacic and Jorginho or other midfielders that Chelsea have. And then it goes on to the lack of goals from Chelsea's midfield. Though goals may be in short supply from Chelsea's midfield, but in recent seasons, few teams that play a 4-3-3 get many goals from that area of the pitch anyway, the article puts. And actually more impetus on an attacking trio to be more clinical is more important here. And you've got the likes of Willian, who's never really been a consistent goal scorer for Chelsea, sort of big in the numbers in terms of goals. We know Pedro's winding up to the end of his Chelsea career. Pulisic was sort of offering that, but of course he's really struggled with injury this season. And we know Tammy Abraham was Chelsea's top goal scorer, and Giroud has come in and had to sort of take up the load there. What I think is really interesting and enlightening about this article, when we're not only focusing on Kante but his midfield partners, because a lot was made under Sarri last season about specifically Jorginho and what Jorginho was doing in Chelsea's team, and was he an effective player? Was he just a pass merchant? What does he do on a football pitch? All the slurs that were sent Jorginho's way last season. And what this, not only about Jorginho, and I know Graham Souness has really gone in on Kovacic and Jorginho in the past, and he won't like these numbers, because as the article articulates, Kovacic and Jorginho seem to be able to handle the passing load themselves, with the table below showing their superior ball progression abilities. These numbers may also help bust for good the myth that Jorginho is nothing more than a sideways passing merchant. I've always been a fan of Jorginho and what he can offer to Chelsea in terms of being a progressive team, but at the same time, it can limit what Kante does. And now we get to the solutions. Now, I urge you to go and read the article and hear their solutions, and I'm going to give my solutions and sort of my opinion on all of this. I feel like N'Golo Kante for Chelsea looks more confused, and fitness is the key thing here. Absolutely, it has to be brought in. You cannot talk about N'Golo Kante in 1920 and give criticism to his game and have this discussion without addressing major fitness problems that he's had pretty much since the Europa League final. You know, he was a major doubt for that Europa League final, but played all through it anyway, and then of course has suffered. Basically had no preseason, I believe, played the last preseason game, a little bit of it, but didn't start the first game of the season, and it's just been halted over and over again this season. So you have to bring that into play. But when he has played, I think he looks more confused under Lampard than he did under Sarri. I was in favour of him playing in that role under Sarri because I think he got better as the season went on. I thought that, especially once Ruben Loftus-Cheek came into midfield and when we had Kanté, Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek in that midfield playing in that three, I think it really worked well. I think the flair and the passing range of Jorginho in the centre of park, when he had better movement of Kanté and Loftus-Cheek in front of him, I think that really elevated Chelsea's game. And I think it's really, insulting to Kanté to just label him a defensive midfielder. He is so much more than a defensive midfielder. I've always believed that. When you watch him on football pitch, even in a 4-3-3, he has had some brilliant games. Look at Liverpool in the Super Cup this season. But in those difficult periods for Kanté, I feel like Lampard's wanted to bring on what Sarri did last season with that possession-based style and wanted to move Kanté further up the pitch, make him a more proactive player, getting into the box, scoring goals, creating assists, running up and down the pitch, adding energy and pace to our midfield and not just being in a pivot. But at the same time, he likes to play a pivot sometimes, as we see with a 4-2-3-1, keeping that defensive side of his game. And I think sometimes you've seen that sort of confusion, in my personal opinion, when I've been watching him on the pitch, of sort of being stuck in between each two. You know, Sarri was very set on him being a more attacking player, whilst I think Lampard is it's in the middle personally for me in terms of performances. I do have a problem sitting here and saying Chelsea should sell N'Golo Kante, not only because watching Kante for Chelsea and one of the most remarkable players I've ever watched play live, just an incredible footballer at his best, a transformative footballer, a footballer that I think just offers something that no other player in world football can offer you. On his night, on his best night, for me, he's the best midfielder in the world. For what he does, no one else can compete with N'Golo Kante. And I think when he's working really well with the likes of Jorginho and Kovacic, Chelsea become a really threatening team. They really can. And I think that was the hope this season with that midfield three. But unfortunately, it really hasn't worked out because fitness problems, consistency, form, all of those things that all those players have struggled with. And look at that Super Cup game against Liverpool in, August. Wonderful performance from Kanté, which really showed he can still be an incredible player for Chelsea. We know this. And considering we don't have many world-class players, at least players I would consider world-class in the first team, just selling them and letting them go, I don't think is a smart move. Of course, you have to balance that with those fitness problems. You know, will he ever get back to his best in terms of fitness, in terms of performance? Can he do that? Or at his age, is he going to struggle now with injuries for the rest of his career? And does that make financial sense now for Chelsea to cash in to a Real Madrid, to a PSG, for a massive fee that Chelsea can reinvest in the squad for players that maybe fit Chelsea's system in the long term? I still find it difficult to say Chelsea should sell N'Golo Kante. I just think it's a difficult thing to sort of promote, really, because I think it's one of those players that still gives you world-class ability that can change a game, that really can be the difference maker in big games for Chelsea. And especially that's going to be key moving forward with young players, with consistency, with Lampard still figuring out his best team. I think with a fit Kante, Chelsea have always got a chance on a football pitch to win a game. I still would come to the conclusion that Chelsea should at least give Kante one more season. If he can get back to his best in terms of physicality, in terms of fitness, in terms of performance levels, he can become once again the player that we all knew he was. You know, this is one sort of poor year, not even a poor year in terms of performance, just in terms of fitness, in what has been an incredible rise, a meteoric rise to the top of world football, really. He is considered one of the best midfielders. And I just think letting that player move at a time when he maybe still wants to stay at the club, it's maybe not an Eden Hazard situation with the contract, I feel could be a major mistake by Chelsea. And as I constantly reiterate when I talk about any player currently under Lampard, we don't know what the best formation is still. We don't know what the best 11 is. And N'Golo Kante has every chance to still be a part of Chelsea's future. Yes, his age is a concern, but you still need to mix youth with experience. You can't just discard experience. You can't just throw it out and just say any player over the age of 23 cannot be in this squad. as Lampard has showed this season with the likes of Azpilicueta, with the likes of Marcos Alonso, with older players in his team, Willian and Pedro. He showed that you still need those players to help the younger players when they struggle. And Kante can still offer that to a Billy Gilmore who's going to learn, to other midfielders like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, like Mason Mount. But those are my opinions on N'Golo Kante and whether Chelsea should keep or sell him. Now I pass it over to you guys in the comments below. Please let me know your opinions on Kante. Is selling him this summer the best thing, or should Chelsea stick with N'Golo Kante and he can still be an incredible world-class player for Chelsea in the future? Please let me know. I'm interested to hear. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.